In this episode of the Rockets Chop Shop podcast, we discuss whether we think the Rockets view Kevin Porter Jr. as the most important player going forward in this rebuild. We also talk about the recent games that the Rockets have won against quality opponents and what are some takeaways we saw from these games. And lastly, we talk about the big picture view of this rebuild. Will Stone be here in 4 years? Will Silas be here in 3 years? We look at some data on the length of time it takes for teams to turn over coaches, GMs, and make the playoffs. Tap in, enjoy the show. Rockets fans, this is not a drill. The Chop Shop got some new heat in the merch store. Stop by the merch store right now and pick up an Alp Always t-shirt, or you could pick up the Alp Sauce t-shirts. These t-shirts are going to be going off the rack fairly quickly, so don't hesitate and go to the merch store right now and get yours today before the holiday starts. These are going to be great gifts for family and friends and something that you can wear to rep your fandom for Alperen Sengun and the Houston Rockets. If you're in the store and you see something else that you may like, support the channel by copying other designs that we've created to show that the Chop Shop is the best place for quality content, quality merch, and quality basketball conversations. Thank you guys for your support. Stop by the merch store right now today and copy the new drops of the Alp Always t-shirts and the Alp Sauce t-shirts. Welcome to another episode of the Rockets Chop Shop podcast. I'm going to be your host for this episode. My name is F-Tank58. As you all know, I got my main man with me, Space Ghost. What's good with you, bro? What's good?
What's good, Frank? Let's get it popping. Like
yes,
only
sir.
a Chop Shop can, baby. I'm ready.
Yes, sir. We're going to jump straight into it. Fresh off the Warriors game yesterday, Coach Silas made some comments that had a lot of the fan base talking about his perception or his view on who the main person in this rebuild is right now. Now, we've had this suspicion and about who he thinks is the priority or who the Rockets think the priority is. And, the comments he made were regarding the closing lineup. When the reporter asked about why, what was the decision going into the closing lineup, he said that he wanted Bruno Fernando to close the game because he thinks that would help Kevin Porter Jr. with the lob threat. Now, on the team that's developing, this does beg the question. If Bruno is there to help Kevin Porter Jr., what about the other guys on the court and their fits with other players? So the question I want to ask you is, do you think that, one, do the Rockets think Kevin Porter Jr. is probably the highest priority as far as the development right now? And what is your view on Coach Silas looking at that lob threat as the primary reason for making a closing lineup rather than the entirety of the team and everyone else? Honestly, if you look at the data, it doesn't really even support it. So I pulled some of the numbers of the lineups that feature Bruno Fernando and that feature Alperen Sengun. And if the rationale for putting Bruno in the game is to help Kevin Porter Jr. out, I mean, the numbers just don't show it right now. So from cleaning the glass, Bruno has played 190 possessions on the team this season. All of those possessions have been with Kevin Porter Jr. on the he's played his top 3 most played possessions feature Kevin Porter Jr. on the court with him. And the lineups where it's Kevin Porter and Jalen Green with Jabari and Kenyon with Bruno, they have a minus 31.4 net rating, which with KJ, that's really hard to do. The second lineup, and that first one had 57 possessions. And 55 possessions, the second one is, instead of KJ, with Eric Gordon, a minus 14.5. And the third most frequent one, only 15 possessions, is KJ with Tari instead of Jabari, and it's a minus 18. Overall, for the whole season, Bruno's a minus 10.7 net rating when he plays. And the worst part of it is not the defense, because actually the team is better defensively when he's on the court. It's that our offense is just terrible. It goes down to 103.2 points per possession, which is really bad. We're in the 4th percentile in the NBA. Now, peep Sengun. Sengun overall net rating is minus 7.6, so that's 3 points better than Bruno's. And this is in 1,000 possessions. So it's easy to inflate your numbers when you only played 190 possessions compared to 1,000 on a bad team. And if you think most of the games Bruno's played in are a couple of the wins that we've had. So he's had to be around as the team was improved. Sengun's been there from all the ugly, so it's minus 7.6. The number one lineup he's in is the starters, minus 12.7. Our starting five is not great, so that's what it is, minus 12.7. That's on everybody. The second most one with 99 possessions is with KJ instead of EG. They're minus 25, and with Jabari on there. When you take out Jabari and you put Tari in with KJ, they're plus 30. So this is Jalen Green, KPJ, Kenyon Martin Jr., Tari Eason, and Alperen Sengun. In 75 possession, that lineup is a plus 30. And they are just charting off high in every category. Defensive rating for that lineup, 91.9. That's the lowest defensive rating lineup probably on the team in 75 possessions. Now, 75 possessions is more possessions than Bruno's played with any group. And Bruno's best defensive rating is 100 flat when he's with Eric Gordon and the starters. Sengun is on the lineup with more possessions that has a 91.9 defensive rating and is shooting 67% in three-pointers. So my argument for it is like the question I guess we're trying to ask is is it worth being a little bit better on defense when your offense craters? And then does that justify you thinking like I'm trying to help KPJ out? Because to me, Sengun makes Jalen better. Sengun makes KJ better. Sengun makes Jabari better. So then how is it that you're going to make a determination about a lineup just based on one player that's very flawed? To your point, Space, about the probably has aside from Eric Gordon and maybe KJ Martin, the lowest ceiling amongst all the other group when you should be experimenting with lineups that help out the guys that you're drafting with all these picks. Because the question then comes in, bro, is I thought we were trying to develop guys. So wouldn't this imply that he's trying to win games, that our coaching staff are trying to win games? In my opinion. So I think that's really what they're doing. But I just don't. I mean, I really don't see the rationale in it. And this kind of, if this is what we're doing, and Kevin Porter is the franchise, I wonder what do you think that means for the path for the team going forward? If they believe that he is probably in the same class as Jalen and Jabari as far as a asset going in the future.
You know, he was drafted where he was drafted, and Jalen is drafted where he was drafted, and Jabari is drafted where he was drafted. Like, this is not a trickle down effect. This is not economics. Like the one guy with the most money trickle it down to everybody else. They all get to eat that way. No, this is not that type of system. Like the guys you got the most stock in, you gotta develop those stock. Like you got the most valuable crop, let's so to say, but you don't water that crop like you water your regular old beans. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Like, it shouldn't be this hard. It shouldn't be this hard. Either Silas need to get flexible in what he's, even his thinking, because it seemed like he's not up to a new wave of thinking. Like, maybe I can be fluid and manage to the roster I got. No, I'm a square peg round hole this thing until it get it right. But Jalen and Jabari needs to be the focal point of the offense. And just like you laid out, it's better with Sengun. The whole team just runs better, more efficiently with Sengun, through Sengun. I have no problem with a rim running type big like Bruno. We will need one of those guys. But this early in the development, let Sengun develop first. That rim running development type guy, we can find him anywhere, anytime, at any point during this whole rebuild. That gym, that is what you're looking for. Them gyms, those Jalen Greens and those Alperen Senguns and those Jabari Smith. These are the guys that you draft and put a cornerstone make them a cornerstone of your team. Not rim running bigs. Like there's not too many of those type of guys or franchise players nowadays. That it's just they kind of got eliminated out of the game, but they are valuable in some aspects. They are valuable, but you can't, handicap the whole team for one player in Kevin Porter Jr. Try to kind of soothe him or soothe his ego or something just because he needs a rim running big, because if he don't have that big, he's shooting a lot of bad mid-range shots. He's shooting a lot of bad mid-range shots on pick and rolls, on everything. So I see what they're trying to do, but if that's not working and you see this is infecting the whole team, bro, you got to change something up. You can't sacrifice, 3 careers for one.
That's facts. And it goes back to the system. I think at the end of the day, it falls back on the offensive system we run and like you said, the inflexibility of our offense right now. Because as we've talked about, and when we'd had that discussion about KPJ when he was out, and where we realized that Coach Silas is just he's dead set on the system. I'm not going to say he's a one trick pony, but he's a one trick pony. And if he doesn't have that KPJ type of player, the offense looks ugly, and it looks ugly some nights. But to Kevin Porter's credit, he makes it look decent because he's such a good isolation player. But the other part of that offense, the playmaking, isn't just superior right now. So I think Coach Silas is really looking out for himself and trying to make his stuff not look so bad by prioritizing that. And I'm not sure if you can say that we're trying to develop players and doing stuff like this at the same time. Because if he can't find a world where you can maximize the Alperen Sengun, you can maximize the Jabari Smith, you can maximize Jalen Green, if that's not his main priority, is getting those guys to explore their games early on at this time and see where they fit, then I'm not sure if we have the right coach for this right now. Once again, if anything is going to make me want to move on from Coach Silas, it's not the wins and losses. Hell, it's not even the all the bad decisions or the questionable lineups. It's really the offensive system. I don't think this is just based on the players we've drafted. I don't think this is a system that fits, that can maximize every single person. I think it's a system that if you drafted a Scoot Henderson, or you got a Kevin Porter Jr., or to a lesser extent, even a Jalen Green type of player that you want to be a ball handler, then yeah, this is the guy that you want. If we don't have that guy, if we're drafting wings and forwards and centers that have skill sets, then this isn't the guy. That's why I said I don't want Wemby anywhere close to Steven Silas. If we got that pick, it's almost automatic, bro. You got to go get another coach. Because as a basketball fan, I'd be offended if I saw a talent as good as Victor Wembanyama on this court being used as a pick and roll lob threat and a catch and shoot guy. Like they should just strip the Rockets of that pick if that's what's gonna happen. But we're gonna move on to the next topic. And this topic is one that is more on a positive note. The team has been playing, very well since the Thanksgiving break, minus some quarters here and there in the Denver games. You just take those out. We've been playing pretty good. Got 3 victories against quality opponents, against contenders with Dallas Mavericks, the Hawks, and the latest one being against the Phoenix Suns in an exciting game that came pretty much towards the wire. What have you noticed from the team? And before you go, let me just set you up with some stats, bro. So in the games that we've won, we're scoring 119 points compared to 106 in our losses, which is a lot of games that we lost. So we've won 6 games to 17 losses. The team is shooting 4% higher on their field goals, 48 compared to 43, and which is 5% higher. We're shooting listen to this, bro. We're shooting 41% from 3 on our wins to 31% in our losses. So that's a 10% increase in there. One thing that I know you've pointed out early, you pointed this out way earlier, is that the free throw attempts. So I know you were talking about this on some of the live streams. When we win, we're going to the line about 5 more times a game, which, that could be anywhere from, you know, 5 to 10 points, especially, some of those close games. Those are important, and we're rebounding better. So what are some things that you've noticed in the team as they've been playing in some of those games that turn out to be victories?
I think, well, one of them, I think we weren't even supposed to win. We weren't supposed to beat the Hawks. Like, we weren't supposed to beat the Hawks. And it just seemed like we still make the dumb mistakes in our wins. It's not like we win and they be pretty. Like, we win and they still be ugly. We wasn't supposed to beat Phoenix. But I would say this, and I'm gonna tip my hat to them. Like, just the will and the competitiveness and the drive of our young guys is to where if they feel disrespected, if they feel slighted in any way, they gonna come see about that, and they gonna see about it on the court. Yeah, man, I love that how they respond in adversity whenever somebody's feeling disrespected or feeling slighted or if they feeling clowned. Them boys do not like that, man. Like, and that's part of the will and the want to. I think a couple of those games is just because they just willed themselves to victory, almost just like the Atlanta game. Like, they just said, we're gonna out hustle you, we're gonna out, because bro, anybody else give up 44 and 45 to an opposing backcourt, they supposed to lose that game almost. And anybody that's getting cooked by the Phoenix Suns and Devin Booker, how he was cooking and all that, like, we were supposed to lose those games. But the bright spots is we out hustled both of those squads, and our offensive rebound is the biggest key to us getting a lot of these victories. We getting a lot of second chances. Yeah, we blowing a lot of shots, but it's like the guys already know we're not really good at shooting. So when that ball coming off, we already know it's a high chance for that ball to come off. So they all got their antennas up and they all smashing and crashing the boards. And it's a beautiful thing that, because I think that one game we had like 30 some second chance points against Atlanta. It's been real fun to watch, at times, to see, oh man, they facing real adversity, even against the Warriors last night. Like, we went down real big, like 18, 19 points. We still cut it to like 5 or 6 points to in the fourth quarter, right at the beginning, before they just went off on us again. Like, we were showing resolve, and I can't give that to coaching. I can't give that part of the game to coaching. That's a want to inside of the players. And there's certain people like Jabari. Like, I believe Mike said this, and maybe you said this too. When we got this man, he is so passionate that it have to rub off on everybody. I see Jabari, man. I be looking at Jabari like, bro, chill. You're gonna get a tech. You're gonna get a tech, bro. He be going at the refs, he be going at our guys, he be going at everybody. You
Did you
mute.
did you see a play where he clapped at the referee on Golden State, where I was like, bro, when he was like, "That's a foul," he just clapped his hand. Yeah, he's a fiery dude, bro. But yeah, go on, my bad.
Nah, but that's exactly what we need. We got, I would say we're not the most put together, but we do got character about the guys that's in the locker room. I can tell that they really starting to really dig each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, they really starting to get a rapport with each other, really starting to fight for each other. Now, I don't know if it's for Silas. It could be for Silas. I don't know. I think maybe the fan base look at Silas a little bit different than the players. Maybe they look at him like, this is a guy we want to play for. I don't know exactly, but the way that they fight, they're fighting for something. Either it's for integrity, it's for pride, it's for the Rockets emblem or something, like, to where when they feel slighted and disrespected, it's more like, bro, if you beat us, you beat us. But you ain't fit to come in here and handle us like we some kids. We grown men too, and they put on their big boy shoes a lot and at least try to answer the bell. That's a key thing, I think, just got us a couple of those victories. It really wasn't too much of scheming or anything like that. That one especially the Phoenix game. We played bad. We played bad that whole game, and I don't know how we won that game. It's Jalen getting to the free throw line. He started, and just hustle, grit, second chance points, rebound.
Yeah, you hit it on the head. And to me, the biggest thing that sticks out as to why we win, it just looks like we just shoot better on threes. And it could be as simple as that. Cause I'm looking at these stats, bro. Garrison Mathews, to me, him not being the worst player on earth is helping the team a lot. On the games we win, this man is shooting 58% from three. And the rest of the losses we've had, shooting 32%. I think that was him coming alive has been a big part, and even all the way extending back to last season when we had that 7-game stretch when he first showed up. When he does his job, just shooting and make threes, it's a different team that we have compared to. I also say that Jabari Smith, his rejuvenation or him kind of getting into his own shoes as an NBA player has really made wonders for the team. Because honestly, he was like the worst player on the team for at the beginning of the season. He hurt us a lot, and we talked about it with his help defense, him not being able to make any shots, couldn't really put the ball on the ground, couldn't make a layup, and he was just out there just running around doing cardio. But with those rookies, they go through that trying to adjust to the NBA, and it seems like he's catching a rhythm and starting to kind of get into a zone. Then the defense is coming along. So Jabari is, in the wins, which most of them have come recently, he's shooting 44% from the from 3-point line, compared to 30% in the losses. And the third key factor for me is Jalen Green. Jalen Green is averaging 27 points on wins. And when we lose, Jalen is only averaging 19 points per game. So when he plays well, and to me, like the Golden State game, he didn't play very well. It was that stretch he had in the Phoenix game that really made it possible for us to win. And which goes back to the question that we asked about earlier. To me, all the resources in the organization should be focused on ensuring that Jalen Green makes it as an NBA player. I'm sure they are doing that, but it seems though that he has to almost share that spotlight, or there's a little bit that's for him and there's a little bit for KPJ, and they're like splitting it 50-50. I would never believe it's 50-50. One, the kid's only 20. So if he's doing what he's doing now, dropping 30-point game, having 20-point quarters, I need to see that, bro. To me, if I'm a coach, I'm looking at those stretches of the game. And if you remember that Phoenix game, he was out there by himself. KPJ had to get benched because he was having a blown gasket, and Eric Gordon wasn't there. So it was Jalen and a bunch of guys. If that's what I see, I need more Jalen and a bunch of guys lineups. I don't need quote Knicks and Eric Gordon to help him with ball handling in those non KPJ minutes. I need Jalen Green to explore his game. I don't care if the man turn the ball over every play, because to me the reward from doing that is like you could have a all NBA all-star level player on your hands if you go that route. So yeah, I think the wins are good. The 3-point shooting just lets me know they're random, if that makes sense. It's not like you said, bro. It's not like schematically they're just like doing something different. It just seems like when we hit our shots, we can win. I mean, if you're gonna shoot 10% better on threes, I mean, that's gonna definitely be a big change in the outcomes of the game. So I don't know if that's sustainable, which leads me to believe I don't think that people are saying, man, can we go to the play? And nah, bro. That's just random, just chance and all these things. We went 7 in a row, and people thought we was about to be a playoff team and messed around and only won like 12 games or 13 games for like 50 games left in the season. So yeah, we could easily still, win like 18 games this year. So I don't think so.
I think we probably could if Silas was to change the lineup.
You think we could make the play-in or try to be
Not,
or
try
just
at least try at least
yeah.
be a more cohesive team. Because exactly like you saying, if we getting this out of Garrison Mathews, I have already postulated just take Eric Gordon and put him as that consistent man, 6-role man like Garrison Mathews. I have no problem. I know Eric Gordon is going to give us at least 12 to 13 points every night, even if he don't suit up. So if he's on that 6-man role, taking those Garrison Mathews spots, that's at least one more rung down Garrison Mathews, or you can have almost both of them playing at the same time, and you're almost getting double the production. Like, and it's not going to hurt the starting lineup because KJ Martin we already broke down the numbers. He fits with the starting lineup anyway. He fits with any lineup anyway. So if we was really trying to win, I think we need to make that at least a adjustment to see, hey man, let's give these minutes to KJ, sit Eric Gordon with the second unit, and let him at least always give us that for sure 12 to 14 points off the bench instead of having a streaky Mathews and a streaky Knicks. Like, because let's be on the way honest, even on a rebuilding team, guys like Knicks shouldn't even be on the squad. Bro, I done seen some of the sorriest teams cut some players just because they wasn't playing up to par. Like, just because your record reflects what it is, that don't mean you shouldn't demand excellence or somewhere near excellence out of the people on the squad, man. Like, you still trying to build towards something. Like, the fact that Knicks get so much burn on this team is truly, truly concerning. It really is, because Knicks on any other team, he wouldn't be getting these type of minutes. So if we was really trying to win, yes, I like how, like I said, we winning these almost off of guts and streaky shooting, like guts, rebounding, streaky shooting. That's how we pretty much won these last 2 to 3 games. It's not nothing schematically or something that's sustainable that I can see we did through these wins to say, oh, we can continue to just that right there, because shooting always going to be streaky. Like, even for the best of guys, shooting comes and goes. Now, the hustle, that's going to always be there, I think, but that eventually enough losses, it takes the win out your sails, and you stop hustling like you used to, so it's like, I'm kind of glad that we did get these victories, but it's nothing that I've seen that was sustainable to say, oh, now we can build off of this to move forward and get us some more victories.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts. And to me, like, you can't have your cake and eat it too with the we're trying to develop. So some people will say that, well, the reason they're not trying to win is because they're trying to develop. Then you can't make those adjustments with the Bruno thing. So it seems like, to your point about the lineups, trying to adjust them it'll probably help. I don't think they're doing it not to win. I think they're just not doing it, if that makes sense. But with that said, I think that's a great segue into our last segment, about, kind of the front office and the coaching. And we had dropped the video about, what does the rebuild look like historically for teams that have been in our position, where they are bottom 3 for 3 or bottom 5 for 3 consecutive seasons in a row. And there's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams, which include the Lakers, the Hawks, Pistons, Suns, Philly, Orlando, and Cleveland twice, that have been in our situation. And for those teams, I kind of went through all the different changes that happen in the front office and in the coaches. And, I'm not going to go through each one in detail, but I am going to give you guys the average number of years it takes for the teams to make the playoffs, the teams to fire their coaches, and the teams to fire their GMs. To make the playoffs, it takes a team that is, after starting a tank, these teams that are a bottom 5 3 years in a row, from when they started their tank, it takes them for about 4.5 seasons to make the playoffs. And obviously, so we'll just round that to 4 seasons. So we started ours in 2020. So by the laws of average, it should say about 2024, 2025 season. That's when the team should be entering the playoffs, which to me is on point. The coaches, it takes about 2 seasons to fire their coaches. Most of these teams have fired their coaches within 2 seasons. And pretty much the only one that didn't was Philly with Brett Brown, and he was there for 6 seasons. through the process. Now, a lot of people think the process was done willingly, but to me, a lot of it was because Embiid was hurt. So the guy you did draft, he wasn't there to play. So that gave an excuse to the coach to be there. I think they would have probably let him go earlier if you had the talent on the court and they were underperforming like that. So 2 seasons is the average. Coach Silas says this is his third season. And lastly, the general managers, the average time is 2 seasons as well for GMs on teams that are bottom five 3 years in a row is 2.4 seasons. So currently, right now, we have Stone in his about same as Silas, 2.5, 3 seasons, this third season into it. Now, the thing that I did notice, so everybody quotes trust the process, the process, the process. The process went through about 3 GMs in the timeline. So obviously something wasn't being done right in the view of the ownership of the Philadelphia 76ers, which is what I always tell people. There's a process within the process. Just because you're tanking doesn't mean you have a blanket slate to just be bad at everything you do. There are certain markers you have to hit in between, even though the outcomes of the wins and losses may not always be wins, but you still have to do things like develop your players, like make sure the guys you draft are being successful, like make sure you're picking the right coaches and you're employing the right schemes and you're hiring the right people around the organization and you're engaging the fan base and you're doing everything you need to do to keep that momentum going to when you are ready to compete. So obviously in Philly, because everybody says that we're simulating that, and we very well may be, it doesn't always mean that the people that are here in between are going to be here when the process is complete. So to me, I don't know. This falls on Tillman Fertitta, and I don't know what his views are on the big plan of the Rockets. But for the fan base, people need to understand the NBA is a business, and it doesn't always mean that you get to see the results of whatever you're trying to plan. Because, like I said, Philly went through about 3 GMs before they started being good. So, what do you think? And let me ask this for you, Space. Big picture wise, in when the team becomes competitive, do you foresee Stone being here? Do you foresee Silas being there? And if not, what do you think the team does? Like, what kind of pivot do they have to make to be successful in the future?
Yeah, I would bet money, like hard earned dollars, that Silas don't make it. And I'm not sure about Stone because, man, Stone, he was already a lawyer, and the contracts, Stone might have some type of no trade clause, no fire clause, or something inside of his contract, some loophole or something to where he didn't protected himself, So I'm not so sure Stone is going to be so easily to get rid of. As we see over here, we don't really do a lot of GM flipping. Like we'll coach carousel. We'll get rid of coaches in a minute. Just throughout our whole history, we really usually get a GM and stick with a GM for a while. Like GMs usually have a long leash over here, but I would say we never had an owner like Tillman either. So Tillman could be a wild card in this whole thing. So, but just going by history, I don't think neither one of them be here to say when we hold up a trophy. I don't think that, but I'm more like 90% sure Silas will be gone because that's just how it is. Everybody, we live in a microwave society. We want results hot, instant, and ready. Coaches, they at the forefront of all those losses. The GM, don't nobody really think about the GM until it's like 3-4 years away, and then it's like, hold on, they've been bad for a while. What kind of talent have they been bringing in? Then they start questioning the GM. But from day one, when a coach get into it, he's being judged from day one. He's on the clock almost essentially, unless he's just a Hall of Fame coach. You know what he brings to the table. So I think, yes, for sure, Silas is going to be, I'm sorry, the statistics bear it out. He's going to be gone. Now, Stone, he's, like I said, he's just a wild card. I think Stone, he got some mafia in him or something. You never know. Like Stone might got some connections though, but realistically, I think he'll probably have to be moved too. Eventually, if he ain't doing nothing, outside the ordinary with the contract situations, eventually he's gonna be gone too. So all I have to say, don't get too used to Stone or Silas. You got to be a fan of the organization. You can't. I can't even get too attached to Jalen Green right now because you just never know how these rebuilds and how injuries are happening to certain squads, and then we have to break these guys up and do these. You know what I'm saying? Like this is such a fragile stage of a rebuild of a just a team building aspect to where you can't project and say, oh, I know for sure this guy, and this guy is going to be here. You could say, I hope that we got this guy, and I hope this guy panned out, and I hope Jabari Smith reached his ceiling. We can do that all day long and go through the theoreticals. That's kind of what make it fun. But as far as bearing out the hard numbers, like you stated, like a lot of these guys is not going to be here. And most definitely Silas and highly likely Stone won't be here as well. So that's just how it is.
Yep. And to your point about the players, I'm going to go through some of the teams that drafted players and that they're not still on the team. Cleveland in 2011, Kyrie Irving, Tristan Thompson. They did win a championship, so I'll consider that draft a success, even though it was off the back of LeBron James. You got Orlando Magic, number 2 pick, Victor Oladipo in 2013, gone. Aaron Gordon in 2014, he was their number 4 pick, he's gone. Dario Saric was the Orlando Magic's number 12th pick in that same season with Aaron Gordon, he's gone. The Suns, they drafted Devin Booker, he's still there with the 13th pick in 2015. Dragon Bender with the 4th pick, gone. Josh Jackson in 2017 with the 4th pick, gone, and they still have 8 now. Philly, Michael Carter-Williams with the 11th pick, gone. Joel Embiid next season with the 3rd pick, he's there. Jahlil Okafor, another 3rd pick, gone. Ben Simmons, the number 1 overall pick, gone. You go to Detroit, Sekou Demboya, they drafted him in 2019 with the 15th pick, he's gone. Killian Hayes and Cade in the succeeding years, they're both still there. The Hawks, John Collins, with the 19th pick in 2017. They're trying to trade him right now as we speak. Trae Young in 2018, 3rd pick. He's still there. And Cam Reddish, 10th pick, gone. The Lakers, y'all already know. I could list off all the draft picks. Lakers had Julius Randle, D'Angelo Russell, Brandon Ingram, and Lonzo Ball. Second pick. And I think Lonzo was the 2nd pick, right? Or was either So 3 second overall picks, 1 7th overall picks, gone. So to Space's point, none of this is guaranteed. We love Jalen, we love Alp, we love Bari, we love Kevin Porter. Some of y'all love Coach Silas. I don't mind him. Some people love Stone. I'm indifferent about him right now, but there's a good chance that in 2, 3, 4 years, this team looks totally different than what it does right now. So I think for people that are so dead set on whatever their stances are, whether it's, oh, we got to trust this guy, or no, this player is the best player on the team. If you take a step back and look at the NBA's history, and I always use history as a kind of a gauge for what I think, it usually, whatever you think you're starting with ain't going to be what it finished with. So we just have to be, as fans, be realistic with what we're looking at. A lot of people like to be optimistic. That's cool. Some people are very pessimistic. That's their own flavor. I think the best flavor of the day should be being objective. And if you can't be objective about your team, man, then you being a fan, very wrong. Right now, I would say the Rockets they're doing pretty good. You know what I mean? There hasn't anything been done that can't be fixed. And that's really where we want to stay at. As long as Silas doesn't break anything, like maybe mentally break one of the players or make a guy feel like he can't play anymore, or some kid loses confidence over him, or somebody develops bad habits over him. I haven't seen that yet, but there's a chance it could happen the longer that we keep going with the way we are. As long as he hasn't done that, there's still a chance. And hopefully him personally as a coach, as a black coach, one of the things I learned from the video I made is that a lot of these cats that get these first jobs are African-American coaches that, they just get in where they can fit in, just trying to get a job, and they might not be prepared for it at the time, but that's what, nobody else wants the job, so they get it. maybe he could learn from this situation and get another opportunity in the future to get that team where his offense can be magic again with that Luka, but maybe he gets a better guard. But, with that said, we're going to end on that note for this podcast. Shout out to all of our members. If you're not a member of the Chop Shop, I don't know what you're doing. You're really just missing some great content and great basketball talk. Join the membership. Is going to be in the bottom of this video here. Also, we got some new drops coming in the Chop Shop merch store. Some new Alperen Sengun merchandise is dropping, and you will, if you didn't see it in the beginning of this podcast video, definitely we'll have the link to the store in the description of this podcast, and you can go straight there. Check it out. It's some fire content. And appreciate y'all. Space. Any closing remarks?
Nah, man, just the same old, appreciation for everybody that's keep supporting the Chop Shop, keep coming back, participating in the live streams, comment on all the videos, just general support, man. We appreciate everybody over here. If you in a member or you don't, everybody is equal over here, and we proud to build the community with all the Rocket fans that come in and night out and just show us support. Y'all the real MVPs.
Yes, sir. Y'all keep supporting us. Keep clicking the likes. Keep interacting with us in the comments. We love arguing with y'all. We love talking with y'all. We love kind of learning the people in the community. So don't be shy. With that said, I'll close this out. Shout out to everybody. Go Rocket.